Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Lord of the Silver Bow by David Gemmell. And this is a far too long delayed return to David Gemmell's works to me. It's easy to forget just how entertaining and compelling his books can be when you've been away from them for a little too long. But anyway, what is this book about? So this book largely centers around three characters and the events that they'll have leading up to one of the more infamous events in history. The characters we follow are Helicaon, Prince of the Dardanians, who walks the very thin line of a good man capable of evil deeds. Next we have Andromache, who a political pawn who's torn away from the place she's felt most beloved and thrown into the court of a king who it seems bipolar, is putting it very mildly. And then we have Argorius, who's a legendary warrior who finds himself on a very strange trajectory throughout this story. And as to the city, the city is Troy. It's just riven with politics, distrust, malice. You name it, all the good stuff, it's there. And this is pretty much a story leading up to the Trojan War, or David Gemmell's interpretation of it at least. So David Gemmell is one of those authors, when you're done reading him, you're so fired up, you feel like you could go and do pretty much anything. And that's exactly how this book left me feeling. So needless to say, I enjoyed it a lot. Everything that I enjoy about him is here. Just does that action-packed adventure, the incredible character work, the absolutely engaging story that works on so many different levels. Everything is here that I love about David Gemmell. So like I said, the story pretty much acts as like a prequel to the Trojan War, and what we find is this absolute rat's of vested interests and agendas, more questionable morals, ideologies and mysteries in the city leading up to the war. We largely follow these three main characters who they're interesting, to put it mildly. Like, we have Helicaon, who is, at times he seems like a really good person, but this guy is capable of doing some really dark stuff, as we see multiple times over the course of this book. Like, depending on the day, this guy wakes up and chooses villainy, basically. Then we have Andromache, who she was honestly one of the more engaging characters to read about, because she has such an interesting trajectory in this book. She comes from a place that she wasn't necessarily happy with, and she was thrown into a situation she didn't want, and she found something to delight in as a result of that. And then it got torn away from her, and she got thrown into an even more messed up situation than she was in initially. And the way that she deals with these challenges and the challenges of this new position and this kind of thing, like it was really engaging to read, especially because we get to see the kind of character that she is, and you can already tell which direction it's headed in. And then and those two, naturally, they have a romantic subplot going. Like, I hesitate to even call it a subplot because it takes up so little content in the book, but it is very much a thread that runs through the book. And like, you can already tell this is something that is going to affect the series as a whole as it continues to play out, because obviously, like, they're both in very interesting places. So there's that. And then the third major character that we follow is Argorius, who he's lived his life to this point with a certain set of perceptions we can see. And this book, we see those perceptions challenged in all the best ways possible, and it forces him to rethink everything he thinks he's known and understood about the world. Like, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, and it leads to quite a bit of challenges on his part, to put it mildly. And then the final character I think I want to talk about is actually King Priam. Like, this guy was an agent of chaos throughout this entire book. Quite a lot of the nonsense that happened in this book stems from him and his choices. Like, he has this impression of himself that he wants to be a benevolent king. So we'll see that he does. We'll see him act in ways that we don't expect him to act when he has these moments. And then in other parts, he's just, like I said, walk up a Joe's villainy. It seems to be a theme with these guys. Like these that's the cool thing about David Gemmell's characters. Like they're never quite there's no clear cut good and evil. They're just questionable choices and questionable morals. And that's exactly what we see for the most part with the men in the story. As to the story itself, it's pretty much what you would expect from this kind of story, leading in, or pretty much any David Gemmell story. Like, there's quite a lot of politicking and drama and this kind of thing. A lot of machinations, a lot of scheming. And it just has these great moments of action and tension. Nobody does tension like David Gemmell. Like, it can be as simple as a scene as a boy trying to work up the courage to jump off a cliff, or a man working up the courage to tell a woman that he loves her. These kind of things, very basic things. But the way David Gemmell is able to just write the scene and just charge it with tension, that's what makes these books so great. Basically. And then of course there's the way that these characters, the way that their stories intersect and come together in strange ways, and so like it makes a very fascinating reading. Like, they're all key characters going into what I assuming will be the Trojan War. So like this imagination of the story, it was pretty engaging to read. Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of it. Like it's this book is the first in the series of among the of one of David. I think this trilogy as a whole is probably one of David Gemmell's more popular series, and you can tell why from reading this book. Like, not on setting aside the historical context that it draws on, it's really good. It's just really good. This is also a series he wrote towards the end of his career, because he passed while writing the third book. So, like, this is him at his most, at his best, you can see, with the most experience and that kind of thing. And it comes across in it, just the way that the characters are fleshed out, the way that they work, their motivations, their ideals, the kind of ideas that are played with over the course of this novel, even as the characters come together and intersect in different ways, and they have and these kind of things. Like, it was just a really fun, engaging read, and a really good start to the series. And for me, a pretty engaging return to Gemmell. Like, I can't let so long pass again before I read another David Gemmell series after I'm done with this one. So yeah, that's my take on Lord of the Silver Bow, first book in the Troy trilogy. If you made this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.